Here and now.
Joe has always been somebody who's supported the rights of women to be educated, to have their own career, and I find it very frustrating we left him behind.
Almost 2 years after Canadian forces pulled out of Afghanistan, a retired brigadier general in Newfoundland is still fighting to get his interpreter out.
So it saddens me that it's still such a big thing and that it's actually getting to be a bigger thing at this point.
Another parent is speaking out about her child being dismissed from daycare. The education minister says changes could be coming. And marking the end of Ramadan, thousands of Muslims came together this morning in St. John's to take part in prayers and celebrations. Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. Well, the votes have been tallied and the small community of Gaultois will not be relocated. The results were released this afternoon, a few weeks earlier than expected. Here and Now's Terry Roberts reports.
Resettlement, rejection. Municipal Affairs issued this news release a few hours ago. Those in favor of relocation, 64%. Those opposed, 36%. That's well short of the 75% threshold needed to trigger government-funded resettlement. It's the third time that Gaultois residents have rejected resettlement. This ends a process that began a year ago when a heavy majority of residents said yes to relocating in an unofficial vote. An analysis by the government determined it would cost $10 million to resettle the island community on the south coast. The largest cost would be paying up to $270,000 each to the 38 registered homeowners. The review found it would take a decade for the province to recover that money through cost savings. For example, ending the heavily subsidized ferry service to Gaultois would save more than $900,000 annually. I spoke to a handful of people in Gaultois this afternoon. Mayor Gordon Hunt told me he expected the relocation vote would fail, but he would not say whether he was pleased or disappointed. He also couldn't explain the difference between the unofficial vote and the official vote. Gaultois resident Derek Hunt learned the results when I phoned him a short while ago. He told me he was happy and excited and said he could not do an interview because he had to call his wife and share the good news with her. Now, roughly 75 permanent residents were eligible to vote. The province hired an independent firm to count the ballots. Now, despite this outcome, the community is rapidly aging and still faces an uncertain future. But for now, Gaultois is not going anywhere. Terry Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, we have an update for you now on the efforts of a Newfoundlander who's trying to help his former interpreter escape Afghanistan. It's a story we've been following for the last few years, and there's still no help from government. Here Now's Mark Quinn has the latest.
When Canadian forces pulled out of Afghanistan in the summer of 2021, thousands of people who risked their own lives to help them were left behind. At the time, the federal government promised to bring those people to safety in Canada. It has brought out thousands, but some, like a man we're calling Joe, are still trying to escape.
We owe him. I mean, to be honest, he supported Canada from around 2005 to 2011. He kept Canadians alive. He was actually wounded in 2010 during a Taliban assassination attempt against him because he was supporting Canada.
James Camsell lives in beautiful Maddox Cove now, but when Camsell was a Canadian Forces Brigadier General in Afghanistan more than 10 years ago, Joe was his interpreter. In 2010, the Taliban shot Joe and told him he was targeted because he helped NATO forces. And since those forces left, the Taliban has been looking for Joe again, and he's been on the run.
He was being actively hunted by the Taliban. They had arrested two of his brothers in Kabul in trying to force him to come out from undercover and give himself up.
Now, Joe and his family have made it out of Afghanistan to Pakistan with the help of tens of thousands of dollars raised by Camsell and others.
He was nervous about going across, but he made the decision he had to get out because it was getting to a point where it was very dangerous, and eventually he was certain he would be caught.
Still, there's been no help from Canada. Joe has applied to federal authorities, but there's been no confirmation that they've received his application. And CAMSL has reached out to federal politicians both in Newfoundland and Labrador and Ottawa.
I've received nothing back from them other than the pro forma. We've got your email. Nothing. And that's been the situation throughout. Minister O'Regan's office did attempt to do some stuff last year, but again, nothing came out of that.
Joe and his family of 6 are living in poverty in Pakistan. He's tried to reach Canadian officials there, but still has no reason yet to believe Canada will take him in. Despite all of this, CAMSL says he's not giving up. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, now to Labrador. The inquiry into the treatment, experiences and outcomes of Inuit in the child protection system has been hearing from people in Natwashish this week. Among the witnesses was Nympha Byrne. She's a translator who worked with child welfare in Davis Inlet before the community was relocated. She spoke with Here and Now's Heidi Adder.
I've worked with social services for 10 years. I started when I was in my 20s. I had seen stuff that what people went through. I didn't have those education. I was not a social worker. I was only a translator. But it had affected me so much what I have seen. A lot of times we don't talk about these things and like we're sitting on the stuff that we are going through. One of it is grief. I know that it's hard to talk about. Once you talk about these things, you will feel much better, and it's a healing when you start doing that. So I didn't realize how much I've been holding things, like, because I'm too busy with working with people, and I think a lot of times that's what's happening because we forget ourselves.
Well, the good news this morning didn't really wake up to a whole lot of snow, and what did fall has already pretty much melted across a good chunk of the northeast coast. But we do have a ridge of high pressure in play, and that will be the story this weekend. Already starting to see some clearing skies through central portions of Labrador, and then also lots of clearing skies down along the southern areas of the island. What's going on this weekend? Pretty much we're looking at a carbon copy forecast from today through to Sunday, and the reason for that is an omega blocking pattern. The reason why it's called an omega blocking pattern is because it literally looks like the Greek letter omega. We've got that ridge of high pressure that will dominate the weather, keeping things dry across the Maritime provinces, Labrador, and even parts of the parts of the island, I should say. But this area of low pressure, that is keeping us in onshore flow. That means chilly temperatures expected along the northeast coast. How long is that going to stick around? We'll talk about that coming up.
Well, there is big news for the Come By Chance Refinery as it continues work to shift into renewable fuels. The owner, Brea Renewable Fuels, has announced a big equity investment, $300 million from Energy Capital Partners. Now, according to Brea, that investment completes the financing for the conversion of the refinery. Brea says it also builds on their plan to develop green hydrogen production at Come By Chance. We have another story for you now about a child being dismissed from daycare. The mother of a child with a physical disability says it happened to her daughter almost 3 years ago. Earlier this week, parents of children with autism told CBC News that their kids were dismissed due to a lack of support. The education minister says changes could be coming to help, but he won't say how soon. Here and Now's Heather Gillis reports.
We have a real problem, and there has to be a solution.
Lindsay Chaff's 8-year-old daughter was dismissed from an after-school daycare program almost 3 years ago because she couldn't get an inclusion worker. Casey Ebsary has a physical disability called arthrogryposis, and she uses a wheelchair.
So Casey's affected in her lower extremities, her upper extremities, so she's not walking right now. She doesn't have very much bend in her legs, so it affects her bones and her muscles.
Chaff says earlier this week she was upset to hear dozens of children with autism had also been dismissed from daycare, facing the same battle she's up against. She calls the practice discriminatory.
So it saddens me that it's still such a big thing and that it's actually getting to be a bigger thing at this point.
Chaff says when Casey was dismissed after 3 years of attending the daycare, she was left to scramble. And for Casey, it meant a loss of socialization.
What did it feel like when you couldn't go back?
Sad.
You were sad.
But it's not just daycare. Chafe says inaccessibility is a widespread problem, and she hasn't been able to find any after-school programs since, or summer camps either.
At some point, you get sick of fighting for basic human rights that everybody else gets. It's exhausting at this point because you feel like you're getting somewhere and you feel like you find a bit of a solution, but then all of a sudden it's a wall. And every time that you feel you get somewhere, you find a wall.
Education Minister John Haggie says government can't force daycares to accept children with exceptionalities because many of them are private businesses. He says currently inclusion is voluntary at daycares, but that could change in the future.
We can't tell them to. Maybe what we should do is incentivize them, discuss with them how we encourage them to do this, and make sure that children with exceptionalities are included in the package, as it were.
But Haggie won't say how long that could take. Haggie also says the department is surveying parents, ECEs, and licensed childcare providers. He says they're also reviewing the operating grant program that funds registered daycares. Heather Gillis, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, a historical bridge at a St. John's Park will be getting some repairs this summer. Construction on the Cantilever Bridge in Bowring Park will include concrete rehabilitation, graffiti removal, replacing hand railing, waterproofing, and paving the bridge deck. The City of St. John's says the structure received municipal heritage designation back in 2020 because of its age, architectural, and environmental values. The work is scheduled to begin early next month and will continue until the end of July. Well, a special photo exhibit will be on display this weekend in the Big Land. It's called Labrador in Focus, and it features photographs taken by youth in Happy Valley Goose Bay and Sheshatshiu Innu First Nation. It's funded by the CBC Library Partnerships Program, and it's meant to give Labrador youth between the ages of 13 to 23 the tools they need to capture their unique world. The photograph's subject is completely left up to the young photographers. You can see the exhibit at the Lawrence O'Brien Arts Centre in Happy Valley Goose Bay from 2 to 4 p.m. Atlantic Time tomorrow. Well, a man who was known as a political cartoonist, artist, writer, and architect, and who had strong ties to this province has died. Peter Pickersgill was born in Ottawa, but he spent much of his time in Salvage and moved there with his wife Lisa in 2004. His political cartoons and illustrations appeared in countless newspapers, including the Toronto Star, the Ottawa Citizen, Le Devoir, and community papers across this province. He was also a commentator on CBC's The Sunday Edition and the Fisheries broadcast. He died on Saturday at the age of 77. A service will be held in Salvage at St. Stephen's Anglican Church on April 29th. Well, thousands of Muslims gathered this morning in St. John's to celebrate Eid Al-Fitr. It comes at the end of Ramadan, a month of fasting and renewing faith in God. Here and Now's video producer Mark Cumby went to the celebrations at the Technoplex. Have a look.
It's a very special day for Muslims all over the world. It is a day of celebration for breaking the fast. It is a day of celebration to glorify our God for enabling us to fulfill one of the pillars of our faith. So it is quite exciting, it is quite pleasing, and our hearts are filled of joy and happiness that we were able to kind of go through 1 month of rigorous training of spiritual uplift, training of renewal of our faith, training of empowerment of our character. But the most important thing, to demonstrate the spirit of sharing and caring. This is what all Ramadan is about, to care about others, to think beyond yourself, to live for others, to think about those who are less fortunate. The most important dimension is to bring all Muslims under one umbrella, unity in action. It brings families, communities, societies, and people together.
Singer singer-songwriter Rachel Cousins paid a visit to her old junior high school today to talk about mental health and the impact that bullying can have. I'm Jeremy Eaton, and I'll have that story coming up.
The weekend forecast looks pretty nice for some areas. We will see some sun. I'll talk all about it coming up.
Next week on Here and Now, another side of the long-term care story. We've heard from frustrated families. Now a nurse is sharing her struggle. The pressures of being short-staffed, not enough time to make meaningful connections.
They deserve that extra bit of attention, and it's not extra. Holding someone's hand is not extra.
Part of our ongoing series concerning care that's coming Monday on Here and Now.
This weather update is brought to you by the Healthcare Foundation Home Lottery. Early bird prize deadline is midnight Friday, May 5th. Order tickets now at hcfhomelottery.ca.
Well, it's Friday. The weekend is here. How is it looking? You mentioned earlier that there might be some sunshine in store for some people.
Yes, there certainly might be. But before we get to the forecast, we're going to talk a little bit about Earth Day tomorrow.
Right. Yes, tomorrow is Earth Day.
Yeah. Every year on April 22nd, people around the world mark Earth Day in different ways, big and small. Maybe bike to work or plant a tree.
Yeah, and here locally, one group is holding a cleanup. A new climate action group called Youth Climate Court is doing a cleanup tomorrow in the Stavanger Drive area. It starts at 11 a.m. at the old Princess Auto parking lot. The Youth Climate Court is hoping people will come out to help pick up some garbage for Earth Day and also have a conversation about how to hold government accountable for its role in shaping policies around climate change.
You know what? That's something we should probably be doing every day when we see garbage, especially this time of year. The wind's whipping around. It's been hiding for most of the winter with all that snow, but that is now gone. And I think lots of us are happy about that. Temperatures today, though, still feel pretty chilly. 3 degrees in St. John's this afternoon, 4 in Gander. The further away you get away from the onshore flow, like I'm going to sound like a broken record, and it's going to happen for 10 days as we head into the end of April, really. It looks like we may see a change come May, at least the beginning of May, but we'll have to keep an eye on that one. So temperatures across Labrador are sitting somewhere between 2 and 6 degrees this afternoon, but the winds were very breezy earlier today. 74 kilometers per hour. That was what we topped out at St. John's, and 65 in Gander and Labrador. A little less than that, about 30 kilometers per hour. Take a look at where we're sitting now, though. Those sustained winds still 39 kilometers per hour in St. John's, 43 in Twillingate. You factor in those wind gusts, it's actually gusting upwards of about 54 in St. John's. So if we take a look at what is going to happen over the next couple of days, we've certainly got those windy conditions, and that will stick around pretty much until we head into tomorrow afternoon and even into Saturday for the Avalon along the northeast coast, or into Sunday, I should say. So winds gusting somewhere between 40 and 60 kilometers per hour. So we're not going to say goodbye to that anytime soon. And like I showed you a little bit earlier, we're not going to say goodbye to the onshore flow either. But we do have some clearing skies up across Labrador, starting or trying to clear, I should say, for the west coast and south coast of the island. And that will continue as we head through the night tonight. There's really not a whole lot to talk about. That onshore flow is going to keep us cloudy. It's going to keep us cool. The potential for some showers and drizzle certainly in the mix pretty much right through till we get into tomorrow morning. But after midnight, they'll become a bit more numerous. Essentially from Bonavista north through to the Avalon Peninsula, we could see that risk of showers, and then even the potential for some light snow or wet snow. Whatever again does fall won't last long. Temperatures will hover somewhere between 1 and about 2 degrees tonight. Winds out of the north 40 to 60 kilometers per hour. Up across Labrador, flurries. Generally light. You won't see anything in the way of accumulation, but the risk is certainly still there. And the coolest temperatures will be in Nain, where you'll hover around -3. So the future tracker showing those showers and flurries in the morning. They will become less numerous as we head into the mid-morning or late morning. And again, beautiful day expected for the west coast, southwest coast, and pretty much all along the south coast of the island. Likely hanging on to some of that cloud cover, though, for the Avalon as you see some showers. But as the day goes on, we should actually see some clearing skies. Drizzle and showers still certainly possible as we head into the afternoon on Saturday. Labrador, you're not looking at a whole lot. In fact, some nice weather expected for Lab City as we head into the afternoon hours as well. Temperatures tomorrow, 3, 4, 5 degrees it looks like. Winds staying breezy, 40 to 60. But again, further away you get, Marystown, you should hover around 8 degrees. You may even see a bit higher than that depending on how much cloud cover you see. For Central, between 4 and about 5 degrees. And then the west coast and the south coast. That's where we'll see those double digits. So between 8 and about 10 degrees. Don't be surprised to see some drizzle lingering for the Corner Brook area, or at least parts of the west coast, but it should clear out as you get into the late afternoon. Northern Peninsula, southeastern Labrador, you're again still in that onshore flow, so things will stay unsettled for the most part, 2 to 4, even 6 degrees. And the best weather will be, it looks like at this point, central Labrador. Happy Valley Goose Bay will hover around the 7-degree mark. Now, as this ridge of high pressure sticks around and temperatures are going to continue to bump up, we could be talking about double digits by the end of the weekend. I'll get into that coming up.
Thanks, Ashley. Well-known singer-songwriter Rachel Cousins paid a visit to her former junior high school today. She chatted with students about mental health and the effects of bullying. The 22-year-old shared what she endured during her time at Leary's Brook Junior High, but she brought a message of hope and she reassured the students that it will get better. Take a look.
If you haven't been told yet, I'm going to tell you myself that your story and your feelings are all very, very valid.
I had a pretty rough few years in junior high. I went to Larry's Brook from grade 7 to 9, and I just went, through the junior high bullying stuff. I was always antagonized for being, the musician or the smaller kid and all that kind of stuff. So I just want to, I'm turning all of these negative things into just having a conversation with these kids and just talking to them about it, because I truly believe that once we start having these conversations, we can put a roadblock in these things, so on and so forth. There's always going to be the bullying in schools, but I think the more kids learn that kind words and stuff make a huge difference. And just talking about mental health, if they don't get that conversation anywhere else, it's really important to me.
If I can get through these things, I'm promising you from myself that you can also get through these things.
I was just letting them know that they're so capable of anything that they want to do. I know that it can be really isolating and it can be a hard feeling when you suffer from things like anxiety and depression, feeling like you're not going to be successful in what you want to do. It's tough, especially as a kid when you get hard on yourself like that. So I just wanted to tell the kids, I'm capable of it. If I can do it, so can you. You're smart, you're kind, you're all good kids, and you're so capable of doing what you want to. So that's just really important to spreading that message. It makes a huge difference in people's days. Just to be kind to one another, check in on one another, and to trust people in their lives with important information that they should be telling each other. I think it's so important to me because I wish that I had a young person who had gone through the same things to stand in front of me and just let me know that I would be okay. I think it would have made the world of a difference, especially when you are young and you're going through these things. It can be really hard to bring it to an adult. Sometimes you just may feel like you're not going to be listened to or heard on the level that you wish that you could be. So for somebody like myself who has been through these things and gone to this school to come in and say, I went through this, it's going to end, it doesn't all stay like this, and life gets really good, so just stick around and find out, that kind of thing. I wish that somebody had been there to do that for me. So it's really important that I can be that person for some other person.
I thought it was a very powerful message that she needs to spread, and it's very necessary for a lot of people to hear.
Not everybody is as happy as they might seem, and that simple kind word can change how they can feel.
Checking in on somebody does a lot, but just putting yourself in their shoes can also do a lot for your perspective.
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't extra nervous for this school today. I sat in the parking lot for an extra 10 minutes, just taking some deep breaths and letting myself know, I'm a different person, this is a different building, there's different people here. And, even I believe it was the principal, when he was signing out, he just said, we hope that we can give you some better memories at your old school. And that made my heart so warm and so full, because that means a lot to me. I definitely did make some better memories of my old junior high today, and definitely had an impact on me just as much as it did other people.
There's Margaret Atwood and Timothy Zahn and everything in between. The Friends of the St. John's Public Libraries is holding their big book sale tomorrow at the A.C. Hunter Library in St. John's. About 6,000 books will be on offer. We'll tell you all about it coming up. calling all bookworms. The Friends of the St. John's Public Libraries is holding their big book sale Saturday at the A.C. Hunter Library in St. John's. They're getting everything organized right now, so let's check it out. It looks like a lot of work. How many books are you going to be selling tomorrow?
I don't know how many books, but we tallied the number of boxes, and so we're over 400 boxes in the fiction and the nonfiction. And when you consider there's probably about 10 books to a box, sort of. So, but I would say that our numbers are quite high. This sale is bigger than the last one for sure. We had lots of good donations. We had a donation day in February, and people brought lots of materials in, and they just keep bringing them in. So we're very happy to have them.
And what kind of books will people find here tomorrow?
Well, they'll find lots of fiction. They'll find their favorite authors, their mystery writers. They'll find romance. We have a really good selection of sci-fi and fantasy this year and graphic novels. And then we have a very good collection of Newfoundland materials that have come in.
And for the general public coming by, I guess this would be a great place to get some books at bargain prices.
Oh, our prices are absolutely bargain. It's $2 for adult books. It's $1 for children's. And we do have a few special selection things that we have a higher price on. They're down there on a special selection table. And then at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, everything goes half price. And there are some things that we've batched together, like there are some children's materials that we've batched together, 3 or 4 books that are a little set, and that will all go for $1. So that's priced like that. But yes, it's the best deal in town, and we haven't raised our prices. Despite inflation, we haven't raised our prices in years. So.
And this is a fundraiser, right? How important is it to hold this fundraiser? Where does the money go?
All the money that we collect goes to the public library system to be used for programs and for collections. The last sale that we had in the fall, the money was particularly dedicated towards multilingual collections because those materials are so much more expensive and harder to get their hands on in languages other than English and French. So this sale, they may take the money and put it that way, but sometimes there's a special children's program that they're doing and they need to buy materials for that. And so all of our money goes, we're like a subgroup of the library board. The money goes to the library board, and then it's dedicated to the library programs, and they can put in and use those funds. In recent years, library budgets have not been that big. The government funding has not been that great for public libraries. So we're contributing about $10,000 to $12,000 a year to the public libraries in St. John's.
And I guess the early bird gets the worm sort of thing tomorrow. The earlier you get here, the better the selection will be. What are the hours for the sale tomorrow?
The sale will start at 9:30 when the library opens. There's usually a lineup outside the door by the children's library, and we will go until 4 o'clock. We close the doors at 4.
Well, good luck tomorrow, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Some young shining stars from Nunatsiavut filled the Anglican Cathedral in St. John's last month with the sound of their voices and their drums. Uliogatsik Choir is made up of youth from 4 Inuit communities. They came to St. John's to perform at Nagamo, a production that's all about cultures coming together.
Uliogatsik, and it means that all the members are shining stars. We talked to the students, and we went around the different communities looking for names and things that they think that would reflect them. And I've always told the students that they can do anything. All they had to do was try and reach out, and it's within their grasp. So that's why we have that choir name. We started this out to give the students a voice. We wanted them to share their language, share their culture, and just share the love of singing. And throughout it, we've made some wonderful partnerships. We've taken some wonderful trips and met some beautiful choral directors, other choristers. We've learned from drummers in other places. And it's just been such a wonderful learning experience for us. And Kelly and I came up with the idea of having our own choir. So it's an audition choir from the communities on the coast. They work separately in their own community. We send them music and things like that. We get together usually at a workshop or one time to get together and practice, and then we travel to events. A lot of the students that are here today, this is their first time being involved in Nugali Gatsik. They still auditioned, and we have a couple of graduates here with us. We like our graduates to be part of it. We like to them foster and to lead the other students as well. Tonight we're debuting our new performance coats, and these were designed and created for us by Chantal Anderson. She's a wonderful, talented lady from Makobik, and you can see like the northern lights are quilted into our jackets. So you'll see that this is the first time. There'll be drum dancing, there'll be singing, throat singing, and then throughout the concert we will partner with our other partnerships that we have here, and we're learning from them, and it's just a wonderful opportunity to sing together.
Well, it was a winning week for several of our colleagues whose work was recognized at the Atlantic Journalism Awards. CBC Newfoundland and Labrador walked away with 4 gold and 6 silver awards last night. From a radio documentary on Davis Inlet to CBC's ongoing reporting of the Stephenville Airport sale, not to mention our multiple morning shows. So congratulations to everyone whose work was recognized. And for the full list of awards and the winning stories, you can head to our website, cbc.ca/NL. And reporter Ryan Cook takes home bronze for his story, Who Let the Wolves In, at the New York Festival's Radio Awards. It details how abusive teachers at Mount Cashel went on to target students on the other side of the country. And our Chrissy Holmes and Caroline Hillier were awarded for their feature, Finding Home, following the province's effort to bring 1,500 Ukrainians to Canada. So well done all. And one of last night's journalism awards went to Project Bonavista. Now, the peninsula has bet big on arts and culture, but what happens when its art festivals starts asking some big questions? That's what our own Mark Cumby and Lindsay Bird explored in their winning documentary. Here's an excerpt.
I think a lot of people are scared of contemporary art because they're always trying to ask the question of what is it, rather than just trusting their senses.
I think a lot of people have a weird first impression of art sometimes where, they don't quite understand it. And I think that's like a perfectly okay thing to experience.
Because it's about contemporary art, not necessarily always pleasing, but always challenging.
It's everywhere. It's outdoors, it's in historic spaces, it's in people's homes.
There's pieces just from the community where someone has painted all their boulders like really bright colors, right? They're not part of the Biennale, but it's just like that aesthetic, like they're trying something new in their life and the landscape.
The Biennale is a festival that happens every 2 years, presents contemporary art all around the Bonavista Peninsula. 100-kilometer loop, generally of 20 to 25 different projects, new contemporary art or installations that are responding to historical sites, communities, and all the different sort of fascinating intersections on the peninsula.
I've always been connected to Bonavista. This was my hometown. Of course, most people want to be proud of their hometowns. And I grew up during the moratorium, and I grew up seeing people move away and seeing houses boarded up. It was depressing, it was bothersome.
After the COB moratorium, there was a heaviness around the community and a lot of people left.
About 19,000 fishermen and fish plant workers are out of work.
The entire area is off limits to cod fishing.
To ensure that the northern cod survives as a species. The proposed compensation is hardly more than welfare.
Through high school and those early university years, there were some interesting not-for-profit works that began in the community. The Garrick Theatre reopened, Newfoundland's oldest theatre. There was streetscape development, multi-million-dollar investments from the municipal, provincial, and federal levels of government.
A year ago today, Bonavista had the Queen, it had the Matthew Landing as it finished recreating Cabot's historic voyage.
Expecting probably to see more tourists this summer, like over a longer period of time.
We've had tourists ever since what, May month?
Yes.
Coming in, looking at it, what they're doing with it.
There's a big resurgence of people coming back and younger families moving back, and whether or not it's people living here all year long or having summer homes, there's just a lot more popularity and a lot more interest in the town, so that's really nice to see.
Bonavista has over 1,000 heritage buildings. There's no town on the island outside of St. John's that comes even close to 1,000 heritage buildings. Now, many of them were dilapidated, abandoned, what have you, but they were assets. And for me, with a business mind, though no formal training in business, I thought there was an opportunity there to restore those buildings, both commercial and residential, attract new people, attract new business, and use those assets to re-energize the community. And it seems to be working.
Well, staying with arts and culture, the George Street Association unveiled the lineup today for its 38th annual Summer Music Festival. Well, the week-long summer concert series will run from July 27th to August 2nd on the George Street stage. Video producer Danny Arsenault was at today's kickoff event.
Okay, guys, are you ready? Yeah. All right. Night number 1. Let's put it up. Check it out. We have international sensation live coming to take the stage. We're talking 22 million albums sold. Night number 2, we're talking Friday night. Boom. You know it's our boy Alan Doyle coming through. Do we need to talk about everything to do with him? Singer, songwriter, actor, writer, I mean everything you want. And of course we're so lucky to have Joel Plaskett Emergency come through. First time here in a while. The next one up, it's our kitchen party. We know we have the Navigators co-headlining with the Rena Harvey Band. Can't wait to have them both headline the show and hit the stage. And of course, Loud Luxury. If anyone remembers the Summer of George launch party we had last summer, because I know you know, we threw it up. They shook the street. We're gonna turn a little bit country on our Monday night show. We're not sad about that. Washboard Union are coming through as our headliner. And Newfoundland's in house tonight. Shannigan rock the stage every time they come. They blow it up, and it's not a night without them in our festival. We're so excited to have them, of course, taking the stage. Boom. Third Eye Blind coming to the stage. Cannot even believe it. When the board told me, I lost my mind. Didn't believe them at first.
Let's find out who's celebrating. Wishing Paul and Vanita Eastman from Bay Roberts a wonderful golden anniversary. Happy 50th anniversary also to Dave and Emma Jones in Lewisport. Congratulations to Ritas and Shirley Hancock of Bishops Falls on their 65th anniversary. Happy 55th anniversary to Dorcas and Ernest Pierce from Deer Lake. Don and Nina Bannister are also celebrating 55 years of marriage. Congratulations. Anniversary greetings going out to Woodrow and Dora Hibbs of Peterview. They're marking their 60th anniversary. Happy 53rd anniversary to Barbara and Lyndon Roberts of Grand Falls, Windsor. Clarence and Effie Smith in Grand Falls, Windsor have been married for 73 years. Hope you have a wonderful anniversary. Happy 63rd anniversary tomorrow to Bob and Isabel George of St. John's. It's a 60th anniversary for Paul and Ivy Rumbold from Mary's Harbor, Labrador. Wishing Walter and Audrey Jenkins of Grand Falls, Windsor a happy 60th anniversary tomorrow. Wendy and Edgar Lee of Gander are celebrating their 50th anniversary today. Congratulations. Happy 55th anniversary to Ignatius and Veronica Walsh of Plate Cove West. Anniversary greetings going out to Marie and Joe Vaders of Glenwood. It's their 56th anniversary today. Wishing Edward and Eileen Raymond of Goulds a happy 55th wedding anniversary. Best wishes to Harvey and Audrey Reed of Bain Harbor, who are celebrating their 61st anniversary. Happy 55th anniversary to Christine and Calvin Kindon of Glenwood. Ivan and Katie Greening are celebrating their 58th anniversary today in Terra Nova. Anniversary greetings going out to James and Margaret Squires of Burlington, who have been married for 56 years. Wishing Don and Shirley Benson of Labrador City a very happy 63rd wedding anniversary. Congratulations to Gerald and Ruby George in Clarenville, who are celebrating 62 years of marriage. Happy 61st anniversary to Edward and Regina Furlong of Plate Cove West. Wilson and Lorraine Bishop of CBS are celebrating their 54th anniversary. Congratulations. It's a 60th anniversary for Lloyd and Jean Cook in St. John's. Happy 55th anniversary to Clarence and Sheila Canning of Birchie Bay, who are celebrating on a cruise. Lucky ducks. Well, best wishes going out to Erwin and Dorcas Genge, who are celebrating their 58th anniversary tomorrow. Wishing Hubert and Tryphinia Vallis a happy 50th anniversary. Happy 58th anniversary to Cliff and Jackie Bugden in Stephenville. Now to some birthdays. Happy 95th birthday to Rachel Party of Wild Cove, White Bay. Happy 90th birthday tomorrow to Florence Reeder of Bloomfield, now in Clarenville. Happy 90th birthday to Alrita Dunphy of Gander. She'll be celebrating her 90th birthday tomorrow. Bill Bartlett of Carpoon celebrated his 92nd birthday back on April 11th. Happy belated birthday. Happy birthday to Cherry Buffett, who's celebrating her 94th birthday. She lives in St. Albans, Bay d'Espoir. Wishing Sadie Nash a happy 94th birthday. She's from Branch and now lives in St. John's. Happy birthday to Cyril Pope, who just turned 97. He's from Stones Cove and now lives in St. John's. Birthday greetings going out to Irene Crispy in St. John's, who is celebrating her 98th birthday. Happy birthday to Mary Beck of Springdale. Mary just turned 95 yesterday. Wishing George Roberts from Lewisport a happy 94th birthday. Happy 91st birthday to Violet Quinton of Southern Bay. Birthday greetings going out to Leona Shywalk of CBS, who's turning 95. Happy 98th birthday to May Vincent of Newtown, now living in Wesleyville. Love from all your family and friends. Happy 90th birthday to Jack Nee of Gander. Best wishes to Ann Saunders of Mount Pearl, who's celebrating her 90th birthday. Birthday greetings going out to Joseph Masters of Grand Bank, who turns 100 tomorrow. Love from Blanche, his wife of 73 years, and all of his family. And finally, wishing Joyce Merkin Robbins a very happy 100th birthday also. She's from New Chelsea and now lives in Brampton. Another fine crowd. Congratulations once again. So let's have a look at the long range forecast. Not a lot of good news in there for most of us.
For most of us, yeah. Any of us in that onshore flow, those northerly winds. Again, I'm going to sound like a broken record pretty much. You could probably just put my forecast on repeat.
Rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat. But anyway, let's talk about it because we do have a ridge of high pressure in place. So by the time we get into Sunday, you may start a bit cloudy through parts of the Big Land, but as you head into the afternoon hours, that should clear out nicely, and that will be the story for parts of the west coast as well as the southwest coast through the day. So you will certainly see some sunshine, but again, those clouds will linger along the coast pretty much all the way down to the Avalon, where we may even see some showers as we head into the evening hours, more numerous showers, I should say, as we head into the evening hours. So temperatures between 2, 3, 4 degrees along the coast. Further away from that, you're talking temperatures between 9 and about 13. That will be the warmest, and that will be in Port aux Basques. And then for Labrador, between 3 and 9 degrees, warmest temperatures will be in Happy Valley, Goose Bay. So as we head into the evening hours on Sunday, and then again on Monday, you'll see the cloud cover kind of creep further west, and then it will retreat again as we head into the evening hours on Monday. So there's that. You can really clearly see the ridge of high pressure where there is no cloud cover. So Lab West, central portions of Labrador, and again along the southwestern portion of the island. That's where you'll find the best weather. Now the winds will start to ease. That's good news as well, because Sunday is going to be fairly breezy. Temperatures again 3, 4, 5 degrees across along the coast. You may see a bit more sunshine though up across Labrador, a little bit less onshore flow for you. And then 10 degrees in Happy Valley, Goose Bay for your Monday. That's the story for Port aux Basques, Marystown as well. And then as you head towards Corner Brook, that temperature will hover around 8. Long range forecast 2, 3 degrees, chance of showers, pretty much rain, drizzle, and fog right through Wednesday. For central Newfoundland, you're looking at a similar forecast, and then the west, that's where the best weather will be. 20, yes, not 20 degrees, 10 degrees for western Newfoundland. And then for eastern Labrador, beautiful forecast. By Wednesday, looking a bit unsettled, and we'll certainly see some showers for western Labrador. Well, here's some sunshine. This was taken by Michelle Hicks. This is a growler in Newman's Cove. I believe it's a growler. I was looking it up. I know it looks like the size of a truck.
Okay.
But anyway, hopefully that's the size of a truck. But anyway, that's a nice a shot of some icebergs. The good news is this weather is going to bring them closer. So
a growler is an iceberg that's the size of a truck?
I believe so. Right? Or was it a bergy bit? Now I'm getting all mixed up.
I'll look it up. Google that now.
I'm sure everybody else knows that answer and I don't. I'm sorry.
Fortunately, there's the internet. Okay, that's it for us. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone.
Good night.